Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin reading from Whispers from Eternity. These are prayer poems, demands by Paramhansa Yogananda. And I think this may be my favorite one. I think I can put the stamp on this one. Divine Mother, come thyself into the waiting temple of our love. Divine Mother, be thou the only flame shining on the altar of our hearts. Burn away any darkness that lurks there. Divine Mother, be thou the only fragrance rising with the incense of our love for thee, and permeate any dark nook in the hearts also of those we love. In our tears of love for thee, wash away what attraction we feel for material objects. In our tears of communion with thee, wash away all the sorrows of earth forevermore. Divine Mother, unite our separate hearts into one great love, wherein thy omnipresence can rest forever and forever. And teach us to behold our latent perfection in the clear mirror of thy divinity. Let the altar flame of our love for thee rise in triumph, shaming the little hissing sparks of all earthly desires. O Divine Mother, may our love be a shooting star, racing gloriously through dark skies of forgetfulness, cutting its ways through dark thunder clouds of worldly preoccupation. Divine Mother, a million distractions have come to lure us away from thoughts of thee. Though thyself, in order to test us, hast offered false substitute fulfillments, pompous temple ceremonies to satisfy the ego needs of worldly people, religious organizations shouting, salvation can come only through serving this work, priests and ministers offering the gospel. God will bless you if you give us money. O Mother, I have done without such outward shows in thy name. I await thee now in the inner temple of my love. Steal softly into this silent temple, Mother. With lamp and flame, banish the darkness of my long ignorance and grant me safety in thy ever-shining bliss. So today's topic, quite an expansive topic, is really behind Christ when this was one of the first sermons when Christ offered on the mount to his disciples. And this is the first teachings that flowed from that great soul's heart, mind, and mouth. And in many ways, in essence, he was inviting us to live in accordance to truth and live in a certain way that we may find fulfillment within our own selves. And I want to put a plug for God here this morning because sometimes he gets a bad name from some. And, you know, it's hard. It's hard when we look around in the world and we see catastrophes. We see especially Mother Nature in all of its destruction and beauty, but also destruction. And it's hard to fathom. And this is perhaps one of the first questions that people ask when they get on the spiritual path, or what prevents people from getting on the spiritual path is, I can't believe in God because how could God ever let this happen? Fill in the blank. And, you know, it's hard to answer that question because, yes, it is very cruel what's happening. Or, yes, this flood, surely that took people's lives, it's very hard to fathom. Where is God in all of this? Well, it's not God's fault. So that's my plug for God this morning. It's not God's fault. Yogananda, many of us as part of the Chandi Ashram, we were just down in Los Angeles and we spent some time in Encinitas. In fact, our guru gave a talk in Encinitas just after they were just having a lot of very destructive floods in that area. And so Yogananda addressed this and he said that this is not God's fault, but rather it is man's doing. And he outlines very specifically that the more the material consciousness that is in man, then what happens is that there is this energy that emits to nature and creates this imbalance. And so the more that our consciousness, every individual, is more in harmony with truth, more in harmony with the divine law, the less that this has to take place. And a good description of this is an avatar, one of the great yogis, Rama, who was one of the great Hindu emperors, reigned over the kingdom of Ayodhya. And it is said that when Rama was king, that there was no imbalance, there was only harmony, and there wasn't any sudden unexpected deaths and all of these things that troubles man. It is because of the consciousness, of course, of Rama, but then also all those in the kingdom, Yogananda said, also strived toward harmonizing with truth, harmonizing with peace, harmonizing with love. And as a result of this kingdom for many years, it was known as the golden era, because there was just such this established presence of peace and love and joy. And so as we can take this example of Rama and we can turn it within, and we can establish that this too is a kingdom, and we each have a kingdom that we are in charge of. We invite the Guru, we invite Divine Mother to enter, but we have a responsibility of reigning supreme in this kingdom. And, for us, the good news is we can have as many re-elections as we want. We can re-elect a new president of Jitendra every moment to say, things are going a little off here. We need some new leadership. We need to make a change. And what is this? This is our mental citizens that Yogananda spoke of that can cause great destruction. And if we allow for those mental citizens or those negative tendencies to rule our kingdom, then what happens? Well, war will break out, lots of suffering, famine, all of these things, and you can fill in the blank on what form that may take. But we have to be ever mindful, and this is the process of self-analysis that Yogananda emphasized to be important for the yogi, is that we're always watchful over this inner kingdom. And we ask our great friend, the divine, the ruler of all kingdoms, to step in to guide us to what needs to happen here in order to reestablish this the sanctuary of peace, of love, of joy. And with the beatitudes, it's that invitation to live our life in accordance to those divine principles that bring forth the greatest joy, the greatest love, the greatest connection with the divine. And I don't know about you, but so often we hear when something good happens to an individual, or let's say we're in a group together and something really good happens, and what do we hear? Oh, blessed are we. We just got blessed with this parking space, which is impossible to get. Or blessed are we got the new house I've always been wanting here at Ananda Village. After 30 years of waiting, working with the housing committee, I have the house now. Blessed are we. And that's, of course, something that we should rejoice in. But very rarely, perhaps more, we hear this at Ananda Village and other spiritual communities, is we say, blessed are we. Our tire just popped, or blessed are we. I just lost the house that I was really wanting for 30 years. That's perhaps a more challenging place in our consciousness to be. But our Guru in Christ, through the Beatitudes, is inviting us that how do we attain this purity of heart? How do we attain this consciousness of a peacemaker? It is, especially in those times of adversity, that we rise, we lift our energy to the heights, and we call to the divine, and we realize that just the same as our Guru said, praise It does not make me better. Blame does not make me worse. I am what I am before God in my conscience. In this attitude that leads us closer and closer to the feet of the Guru, to live in the presence of God, has to be practiced on both sides. There was a time of our Guru's life, at this particular time he was down south, I believe he was in Tucson, and during this time of our Guru's life, there was a lot of challenges that were coming up. Challenges individually, of course, he was playing the role, he was free, he was an avatar, but he was playing this role for us. And during this time, there's a lot of challenges that were brought into his personal life, but then also there were some big challenges with the work. And he had, a person promised him that he or she was going to help give a large sum of money towards something that was needed. And Yogananda feared that if this didn't happen, the work perhaps could be lost. And sure enough, the next day comes and this person, nowhere to be found. That wasn't there. And so he became frustrated with Divine Mother. And he was just tired. He said, Divine Mother, every time I finish something, you put something more on me. All these troubles in the work, and I just want to go off and be alone with you in the Himalayas. I just want to be along with you and commune with thee. I walk out of here right now because I just want to be with you. And at that time, Divine Mother came to him and spoke these words, which are so powerful. Divine Mother said to our Guru, "Dance of life, dance of death. Know that these all come from me, and rejoice, rejoice. What more dost thou want, but that thou hast me?" And in that moment, our Guru said that he was free. And from that moment on, he never questioned Divine Mother, and knowing that everything that gets placed at your foot, at your doorstep, is Divine Mother giving you what you need to be free. And just the same, if our Guru experienced this person giving the money that was needed at the time that it was needed, and perhaps even giving more to open up another center or another temple, just the same, Divine Mother's response would be. And so we too, in our life, the more that we can go inside, especially during those times that we are challenged, or those times where Maya begins to enter in and try to convince us that we are not worthy of attaining this oneness, or we are not worthy of living in peace and living with purity of heart, because it's all right here, right now. And all we have to do is practice with the attitudes that lead toward this realization. I wanted to share, just a few days ago or so, I was connecting with Nayaswami Jaya. And many of you perhaps are aware, Nayaswami Jaya and Nayaswami Sagar went to Yellowstone for a trip. And so I was connecting with Jayaji, and he said, I'm a little concerned for our friend, being Sagar. He said, it's going to be rainy and the temperatures are going to be plummeting down to the 30s at night. I don't know how he's going to do. Sagar is from India, for many of you may not know him yet. And so he said, I'm a little concerned, And I was like, well, I got a sleeping bag I can give him, or, we're just trying to figure out everything. Now, after I connected with Sagar, of course, he was like, I'm fine, all is good. But I was talking to Jaya, and he said, I've been known to seek out adversity. He said, my daughter, is always saying, Jaya, Dad, why are you going off on that trip? You know that this potential hazard or this is going to be there. And he said it fuels him. He seeks adversity. But then he said something very wise, as Jayaji always tends to do. He said, you can seek adversity, but you don't have to suffer. He said, you must be prepared. And so, of course, he said, I have this type of jacket, and I have this sleeping bag, we rented a van, so worst comes to worst, Sagar can sleep in the van and turn the heat on, so all is good. But he said, adversity is good for us. And yes, indeed, it is good for us. It strengthens us. It forces us and invites us to lift our energy, apply the willpower that's needed to find God. And especially if we can rejoice in that adversity. But we must be prepared. So how do we prepare for adversity? And this is really the invitation that Christ gave with the Beatitudes. And we don't have time to go through all of them, but I invite you to, when you have time, to read these invitations. And in fact, I invite you, especially this week, to read the Beatitudes and find one of them. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Pick one Beatitude and work with that this week. Pray to Divine Mother, pray to the Guru. Help me to live more in accordance to this attitude. Help me to manifest this quality in my heart, no matter what comes of itself. And as we practice this, as we, of course, prepare our consciousness daily through meditation, with devotion, with service, one of the greatest tools that we have on our side in this journey to self-realization is, of course, the Guru. Because we can practice this all we want, but when we invite the power of the Guru, we seek the Guru's blessings, everything becomes empowered. And I wanted to tell a story that also just recently, during one of our travels down in Los Angeles, we were coming back from Encinitas to Los Angeles. And it was about an hour and 45-minute drive or so. And it was late at night after a long day. And so Kevala and I were driving in the two front seats of the vehicle. Kevala was driving. And so we had an hour and 45 minutes. So we thought, well, how do we want to use this time? We thought, well, let's use this time to talk about, we were very curious about the strategies that Babaji was implementing right now in the world. So we took an hour and a half to, theorize of what's he doing right now in his office. What are the decisions that are being made right now? So it was a great, deep conversation. And a part of this conversation, I asked a question. I said, what's interesting is that we know in the Gita, it says that whenever virtue declines and vice predominates, I reincarnate again to reestablish virtue. And I said, when's the next avatar coming? Because I think there's enough vice here for them to step in and, a little extra charge here, expanding the consciousness on the planet. So we started to talk about that. And so after our long conversation talking about Babaji, we entered our last chapter of the sort of mini book that we were writing through our conversation, and we said, we ended with wow, just Om Babaji. And then after this long hour and a half conversation, appearing out of nowhere were this giant billboard with this yogi. It wasn't Christ, but it was a yogi with his hands out with these big letters. Behold, I am coming soon. And surely we were like, whoa, Om Babaji, just Om Babaji. And joking aside, this is how close Babaji is. This is how close the Guru is to show us, to answer our questions, to reestablish that hope and that inspiration. And so after we were in awe for a few minutes, we became silent for the rest of the trip. And the one thing I wanted to share with this is that, just the same in the story with our Guru enters the hermitage with Sri Yukteswarji, and after about 6 months, Yogananda said he began to become restless with the ashram duties. And he wanted God realization. He wanted that touch of samadhi. And so due to this restlessness, our Guru asked Sri Yukteswar, please permit me to go to the Himalayas so that I may be in constant communion with the divine and receive that touch of grace of God consciousness. And Sri Yukteswar, being the wise soul that he was, I'll paraphrase here, best not you go to the Himalayas. Not all souls, hillmen in the Himalayas, are filled with God consciousness. And he invited Yogananda to stay in the ashram. But he didn't command to say, I'm the one to give you samadhi. I'm the one to give you this touch of blessings. He let Yogananda leave. And Yogananda went, this is when he went to visit Ram Gopal Muzumdar and went on this journey after Tarakeshwar and get lost, and finally arrives back at the doorstep, and he sees his guru, and he felt so sorry that he had left his ashram duties. But Sri Yukteswar meted him with joy and love and said, let's go eat some food. And that was the experience really of the love that our guru felt at a deep, deep level. And soon after, Sri Yukteswar blessed him with the experience of samadhi. But that spirit that our guru held of feeling that he couldn't wait any longer for that experience of contact with God is one that is implanted in all of our hearts. And we should fuel that. We should, everything we can do throughout the day to keep that in the forefront of our consciousness, but not to let that get restless. And to know that wherever the Guru has placed you, whatever the Guru has given you as service, as your circumstances in life, is exactly what he wants for you. Because through that, he can give you that contact with God. But to be restless in the way of your devotion, to say that I cannot stand any longer to be separate from you. Come to me every day. And this is what will draw his grace and draw his response. I wanted to close with this very beautiful prayer poem by our Guru. So I invite you to close your eyes and drink this into your heart. When will he come? When every heart's desire pales before the brilliancy of the ever-leaping flames of God live, then he will come. When in expectation of his coming, you are ever ready to fearlessly, grieflessly, joyously burn the faggots of all desires in the fireplace of life, that you may protect him from your freezing inner indifference, then he will come. When no inclinations or unfulfilled cravings can be sure of your stability toward them, when he shall be certain you will never leave the Guru, then he will come. No matter how you feel helpless, forsaken, tortured by temptation, karma, or tests, if you ever keep hoping he will come, he will come. When your mind says piercingly, you can't have him, you don't deserve having him, still if your soul, disregarding all this, shall ever keep chanting within, he will come, he will come. When he shall be sure nothing else can claim you, then he will come. Even if you are the sinners of sinners, still, if you never stop calling him deeply in the temple of unceasing love, then he will come. Om Guru.
Men called it progress, down with those who doubt. outward see, but pride in singularity. Oh, never mind if men are wrong, so long as they agree. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone. Claim the power within you, error to defy. The world may change or disappear, but truth can never die. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed who thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be called the children of God. Blessed those reviled for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom